Nice left hand landing on Steveson.
This is the first ever Black Olympic heavyweight champion. This unstoppable machine of athleticism is now in MMA. His crushing power forced the UFC president to sign him. Gable Steveson is not just one of the best athletes on the planet. He is also a protege of the legendary Jon Jones. Yes, after retiring, Jon personally trains Gable, and the results are terrifying. In his first 3 fights, he spent only 3 minutes in the octagon and scored 3 knockouts. Yes, this Olympic wrestling champion instantly learned how to knock people out like a boxer. And I'll tell you even more. He even took a boxing match and won it by knockout in the first round. What's interesting?
This powerful athlete was born on May 31, 2000, in Portage, Indiana, USA. His mother named him after the legendary American freestyle wrestler Dan Gable. He began wrestling in 2004 at the age of 4. His parents clearly wanted to turn him into a superstar wrestler, and they succeeded. His talent was evident from the very beginning. Between the time he started wrestling and the moment he entered 7th grade, Gable had already won several national youth-level tournaments. In 7th grade, Steveson and his family moved to Apple Valley, Minnesota. There, he began competing for Apple Valley High School. It was during this period that Gable achieved his first major results. At the age of 13, he reached the finals of the 2014 MSHSL State Championship with a 39.2 record, but ultimately finished as runner-up, losing the final match of his middle school career while in 8th grade. Speaking of his amateur records, it is worth mentioning that Gable holds the highest winning percentage in Minnesota high school wrestling history at 98.59%, 210-3. For his performance in 2017, he received the Junior Chalice Award, and the following year, he won the Junior Hodge Trophy. After graduating from high school, Steveson competed for the University of Minnesota's wrestling team, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. He burst onto the collegiate wrestling scene in spectacular fashion. One particularly fascinating chapter of his career involves Anthony Cassar, who became an extremely important figure in Gable's development. As frustrating as it was, this experience became a crucial turning point for him. In 2019, Steveson reached the Big Ten Championship Finals, where he faced Cassar. It was Gable's first defeat since 8th grade. To make matters worse, he lost in heartbreaking fashion by a single point. The story did not end there. Later that same year, fate brought them together again at the 2019 NCAA National Championships. The two met in the semifinals, and once again Gable fell short, losing 4-3. Perhaps without those 2 defeats, Steveson would never have become the athlete he is today. As the saying goes, everything happens for a reason. His NCAA achievements are truly remarkable. During his collegiate career, he became a 2-time NCAA champion, 2021, 2022, a 3-time Big Ten champion, a 4-time All-American, winner of the Dan Hodge Trophy, the most prestigious award in American collegiate wrestling. This naturally raises the question, how did he achieve such success? Gable transformed himself into a machine. The secret lies in his extraordinary advantages. Incredible speed despite weighing 125 kilograms, 275 pounds, explosive leg attacks, outstanding defense, and athleticism more commonly associated with much lighter weight classes. However, Steveson's greatest challenges still lay ahead, mental and emotional challenges. But more on that later. The true pinnacle of his amateur career came at the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, a moment worth examining in greater detail. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Games were postponed until 2021. Steveson's first opponent was Kyrgyzstan's Ayail Lazarev. The American completely dominated the match, repeatedly securing points from rear control positions. The result was a dominant 10.0 technical victory.
His next opponent at the Olympics was Turkey's Taha Akgul. Steveson once again delivered an impressive performance, winning convincingly by a score of 8.0. His third opponent was Mongolia's Mukhtarin Lakagvagerel. The American advanced past him without major difficulty as well, securing a 5-0 victory. Saving the best for last, Steveson's final opponent at those Olympic Games was Georgia's Gino Petriashvili. Once again, it felt like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. With only a few seconds remaining, Steveson was trailing 8-5.
Straight onto the leg, and he pulls 2 points back. Look how quickly it changes, and he's going for 2 more. He's not finished there.
But first, he scored a beautiful takedown.
Slightly jaded, Steveson still got all the momentum. One throw will do. Can we get him down? 30 seconds remaining. He's going for the throw. McGregor gets the 2 points, and he steals it with 0.01.
The match instantly became legendary, to make the moment celebration that quickly became one of the viral highlights of the Games. Now we move on to the next stage of our hero's life, a fascinating but incredibly challenging chapter. In 2021, he signed a contract with WWE. On paper, it seemed like a perfect fit. He was an outstanding athlete, and many predicted a brilliant future for him. However, things did not go according to plan. Professional wrestling is first and foremost entertainment. That is where Steveson struggled. He lacked natural television charisma, was uncomfortable working in front of the camera, and had little understanding of wrestling promos. In WWE, a character's story is important, but the fan's perception is even more important. Many fans viewed him as too much of a legitimate athlete and failed to connect with his character or see meaningful development. Although he won his debut match, there was little excitement surrounding him, and fan reactions remained fairly muted. Steveson trained extensively at the WWE Performance Center. Coaches worked with him on wrestling promos, camera presence, sports entertainment-style performances, and acting skills. Unfortunately, the results were limited. Even appearances at WrestleMania 38, Monday Night Raw, and major WWE promotional events failed to elevate his popularity. Eventually, things deteriorated to the point where some fans even began booing him. The ending became predictable. In 2024, it was announced that he was no longer working with the company. He decided to pursue a career in MMA, and that proved to be exactly the right decision. In MMA, there is no need to be a showman or create a fictional character. You simply have to destroy your opponents, and that is exactly what he has been doing. His first MMA fight took place on September 12, 2025, against Braden Peterson. The fight started at a furious pace. Just 13 seconds after the opening bell, Steveson successfully shot for a takedown and brought the fight to the ground, his natural habitat. From there, Gable began tossing his opponent around and landing accurate strikes to the head. Clearly, this was not what Peterson expected from a debuting fighter. Later in the fight, Peterson found himself trapped under what could only be described as sledgehammer blows. Honestly, it was difficult to watch. He had no answers and nowhere to escape. It was a spectacular and explosive MMA debut by Steveson. Bravo! In this fight, he fully demonstrated his power. To everyone's surprise, next month Gable decided to compete in the Dirty Boxing League despite being a top-level wrestler. And in his first MMA fight, he already showed solid wrestling skills. In his boxing debut, he demonstrated that he has unreal punching power. The fight barely started before his opponent was put to sleep. His next opponent was Kevin Hine. The fight took place on November 23, 2025. Everything seemed relatively calm until one devastating left hook from Steveson completely changed the fight.
Those hands go. Nice left hand landing on Steveson, and Steveson just puts Hine out. Gable Steveson.
The punch landed flush on Kevin's jaw and switched off the lights, literally. The referee stepped in almost immediately to stop the contest. Another emphatic victory for Gable. Hugo Lozama became Steveson's next opponent. The fight took place on February 19, 2026. At one point, Lozama was sent into a spectacular flip. He probably did not expect it himself, but he fell into a trap and absorbed several heavy strikes from Gable.
Ooh, trip by Hugo, trying that spinning back kick into the body. Big punches by Gable, big punches. I think Hugo is cut.
Later, Steveson once again brought the fight to the ground and began overwhelming his opponent with relentless punishment. The referee finally decided he had seen enough and stopped the fight. It was complete domination from start to finish and another highly convincing victory.
To finish this fight, he is staying composed, and Hugo is just holding on for dear life in these positions.
He's surviving. The referee's very close to the action.
On April 11, 2026, it was announced that Steveson had signed with the UFC. Then, on May 16, 2026, it was officially revealed that Gable would make his UFC debut against Elisha Ellison on July 11, 2026, at UFC 329.
As you may have noticed, in all of Gable's fights, the legendary Jon Jones was in his corner, and it's not a coincidence. After Jon retired, he became Stevenson's mentor. Jones sent him to his gym, the Winkler Jones Gym, and constantly helps and teaches the young Stevenson various techniques and tactics. Essentially, this Olympic beast is receiving knowledge and support from the greatest fighter in history, which makes him even more dangerous. And that is likely why Stevenson's striking and ability to mix wrestling with stand-up work so well. Who knows, maybe that's why Jon moved up from heavyweight so quickly. Because in a division where there are only 3 to 4 truly athletic fighters, Gable already looks like a real contender even now. And if you feed him a couple of top 15 fighters, he would 100% be ready to fight the best of the best, who would not have any real opportunity to prepare for an Olympic champion being trained in MMA by the most creative fighter in history, Jon Jones.
When it was finally time for his UFC debut, Gable Steveson wasted no time answering all the questions. In his first fight in the world's premier MMA promotion, the Olympic champion chose to put his legendary wrestling aside and showcase only his striking. Steveson unleashed Jon Jones-style kicks before finishing his opponent with his heavy hands. With that performance, he announced himself to the entire UFC roster. Do you think he has what it takes to become a UFC champion?